X-Men the Animated Series, the Dark Phoenix Saga set review coming right up. Mr. Clicks Flicks is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning roll for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafe.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Mr. Clicks Flicks is also brought to you by trollandtoad.com, one of the largest online gaming retailers. Use the promo code Mr. Clicks Flicks for 5% off your heroclix order today. Alright guys, so today we are talking about the Marvel heroclix, X-Men the Animated Series heroclix set. So what we're doing with this one is we are taking a look at all the figures from this set, and I will give you a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. I might even give you a reason, I might not. And there is going to be a top 10 for this set coming out, but this is just a full-on set review, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a taste of what's going to be going on. So let's go ahead and get over to doing that. Alright, so here we are at hcrealms.com. We're taking a look in the dials and evidence thread because not all the dials are in the units section yet, and it's a basically a fan run web page, so you know, can't really whip a volunteer too bad. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at these, and I'll tell you if I like them or not. Maybe give you a brief reason why, but probably not, just to upset some people. So anyway, starting off with the commons, we got Wolverine, number 1 in the set. He's pretty good, as you can see stats-wise. Has a 12 attack with Blades, Claws, Fangs, 18 defense with indomitability and toughness. Decent assortment of keywords, but his real showstopper is his trait here, where opposing characters within 3 squares can't use stealth or shape change. I think that alone is going to be enough to where he's going to start taking over for the Wolverine ID cards, or people are going to run dual Wolverine ID cards, where one will be the XXS super rare Wolverine and the other Wolverine will be this, because rather than run like the Mandarin ring that makes it so that you can have improved targeting, ignores hindering, or some other things like that, you just run this guy, and true, it's only for 1 turn, but this guy is where it's at. 1 turn's normally all you need for something like that. And on things like Ultra Chase Thanos teams, if you pick up the ring, that means you lose your ego gem, whereas this makes it so that you get to keep that. So this is definitely a big thumbs up in my book. And he's pretty decent on his own. I mean, 12 attack, 2 damage, but you're rolling blades, so you might get a 6. So we definitely like him. Up next, we have Rogue. She is number 2 in the set. 60 points, and she's a decent little beat stick for 60 points. Low defensive value, but 11 attack for 4 damage. Steal energy, but only if she hasn't been moved this turn. I mean, I don't know what more you're really asking for 60 points. She can soak up a decent amount of damage. I like her. I like her a lot more in the Fast Forces version, anyway. Next, we have Beast here, number 3 in the set. He has the thing that people are talking about is the special on his damage, where it's perplex, but he can use it if he shares a. When he uses it, if the target shares keyword with him, he can modify any combat value except for defense, +2 or -2. So basically, he's a Mariah Hill. It's like 2 Mariah Hills for the price of 2 Mariah Hills, but he's not bringing you that leadership role right off the bat, and he's not bringing you that outwit right off the bat, and he's not bringing you the ID card. So if you're playing like some sort of Highlander team where you can't run 2 Maria Hills, I would do 1 Maria Hill in this guy. But other than that, until you can't run Maria Hill, she gets retired or something like that, I would pretty much run 2 Maria Hills. That way, if one goes down, you still have your 1 perplex, you still have your 1 ID, you know, your 2 ID cards, your leadership and stuff like that. He's not bad. I'm not saying that. He's just not what people are saying he is. These Assassin's Guild guys actually aren't terrible. I hated them at first, but for 15 points, 10 attack, blades, 9 movement, I'm sorry, 8 movement with charge, isn't bad. Traded stealth, you know, so 15-point character, able to deal 6 damage. isn't bad. Neither one of those keywords are great, but it is what it is. These guard commanders, there's no situation that I like them. The only saving grace is the last 2 clicks here, where it's got a 15 with defend and 1 damage with support. But I mean, I'm not spending my game trying to push these guys to those clicks. Friends of Humanity, these are going to be a staple on Sentinel teams, so I would say try to get at least 5 or 6 of these guys. There's things on them that aren't too terrible. They have 10 points here, but you can also do them for 5 points, but you don't get to choose the starting line. I really don't see a scenario where you're ever going to pay 10 points for these. But they do have some good things, like they got Empower. So if you get a group of them together and you're flurrying for 4 damage out of a 5-point out of a cluster of 5-point figures, that's good. You've got Plasticity, Poison, which is good. Range Combat Expert, Close Combat Expert. You can see how to get out of control pretty quickly. So good there. Next we have Boulevard Trask. This guy is going to be a staple on every single Sentinel team, just because he starts the game. He has traded leadership, which is good, and then if he succeeds, he can either make a Friend of Humanity or a Sentinel if he's adjacent to 3 Friends of Humanity figures. So basically, you're always going to be paying 15 points to start with 3 Friends of Humanity, and then start bringing out Sentinels. And then he's got support is free, but only target characters with Sentinel or Robot keyword. You know that's what you're doing. So next we have Scanner. She's not that great. Her Astral Marker is okay with the 18 defense, but it can't even tie anybody up because it's just gets ignored. It doesn't block lines of fire or require opposing characters to break away from it. I think if they made it so that you had to break away from it, but it didn't block line of fire, I think it'd be a lot more effective. If you're in a tight spot and you need some prob, I guess maybe, but this is a pass for me. Callisto, actually, she's not terrible. She's got Sidestep and Close Combat Expert. When she damages an opposing character with an attack, give her a Rightful Leader token. When she uses leadership before you roll, you may remove a Rightful Leader token to automatically succeed. So basically, all you have to do is hit to get the rightful or damage. So you can deal an 11 attack for 4 damage, or a 13 attack for 2 damage, or however you want to deal that up. She's got stealth, and friendly characters with Morlock keyword can use Underworld team ability. That's not bad for 45 points. Let's be honest. These Kleinstock brothers, you're running 3 or you're running none. So that's just how that's going to be. If you're only going to run 1, I like the Running Shot Psychic Blast version. But you really need to be running 3 of these. And then we've got an ad. And we've got Magneto. This is the 11A version. Got the Mutants Brothers and Sisters trait. Telekinesis once per turn. When he uses it after resolutions, roll d6, 5 or 6, choose 1. Remove an action token from another character, from the character placed by telekinesis, or he can immediately use TK again at no cost. That's pretty good. It's, not very likely to get it with that 5 or 6, but pretty good. And he's got leadership. I could see some people reaching for this for an inexpensive Magneto, but he is pretty well overshadowed by the Prime version of him. A lot of people are talking about using him to pilot like the Sentinel Squad ones to give them a 12 attack for 4 damage. I can see why, but he's only taking or dealing 1 damage at a time until he gets 3 error tokens, at which point he's doing his printed stats there. And then if he gets KO'd for the rest of the game, that character gets energy shield deflection. I like this Force Blast, and you choose the direction. That could be handy just by itself. This Deadpool is actually not bad. I heard a few people kind of dog on him, but super senses, and when the target misses after resolutions, give him an action token. You figured that paired with incaps pretty good, and then perplex, but only to negatively modify attacks. That's good. Next we have Cyclops. He's not terrible. He's got a unique modifier, choose combat value. If Cyclops is adjacent to a friendly character named Jean Grey, modify the chosen combat value +1. Then he's got running shot and force blast. So he's got running shot, psychic blast, force blast. Leadership, when he uses and succeeds, choose a friendly character that shares keyword with him and has 0 action tokens. This turn that character has free, have speed, then move. I mean, that's pretty good little leadership power there. I like that. Then there's this Jean Grey. I didn't like her when I first looked at her, but she basically does for you. She's not the close combat beat stick that the Fast Forces Rogue is, but she does what the Fast Forces Rogue does, but better, because she hands out toughness. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the X-Men keyword can use toughness, and then she's got the flight ability. She's got telekinesis. She's got that unique modifier, +1 of that combat value if she's adjacent to Cyclops. I like her a lot. I'd try to hunt down at least one of these. Cable's pretty good. You need to hunt down 3 of them so that you can fully utilize this futuristic hologram. Sidestep, phasing teleport, once per turn for all characters with this power. Telekinesis is free, so you can basically TK himself out 6, sidestep 2 more, and then attack. So it's a super duper running shot, basically. And then he's got a stop invulnerability. When it's first time's revealed, KO all the other cables. This guy's really good. I like him. You're paying 100 points if you're using the 2 holograms, but it's worth it. Belladon's garbage. There's no getting around it. Graydon Creed is not bad, but he's overshadowed so bad by Boulevard Trask and the next figure, Senator Robert Kelly, that there's not really a scenario that you're going to be running him unless you're playing in the pauper states, at which point you have them, because you're not allowed to run more than one of the Friends of Humanity or Boulevard Trask, and you're trying to come up with ways to get more of those Friends of Humanity figures out there. Senator Robert Kelly is basically a 5-point cheaper Boulevard Trask, although not quite as good. His leadership power is not traded. That brings out the Friends of Humanity and Sentinels, so it could be outwitted. He has perplex, but only target opposing characters, and then he does have the downside of going to your opponent's force if he's KO'd. So that's a thing. Amelia Vaught is a must-have if you're planning on playing Acolytes or Brotherhood of Mutants. She's got that Mutant Messiah trait, which, it's neat, but I don't really care about. But she's got this special arm movement where it's phasing teleport passenger 4, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with her. And then she's got a special super senses, which is, not bad, but really you're just using her as a hyper taxi with perplex. So Brotherhood of Mutants and Acolytes, to be fair, have a hyper taxi now. Fabian Cortez is good. Again, if you're running Acolytes, you're using this guy. He's got that Mutant Messiah trait. He's got this power overload, which is power, choose an adjacent character, modify the chosen character's combat values +1 until your next turn. At the end of your turn, roll d6, 3 through 6, deal that character, chosen character 1 unavoidable damage, and heal Fabian Cortez 1 click. Enhancement leadership is the special on his damage powers. Now, I'm not sure if this is a typo where it just says there's adjacent characters or if it has to be adjacent friendly. So you guys let me know in the comments below if it specifies friendly, because if it doesn't, that's a nice sneaky way to put them adjacent to a character that's double token, and that they're an opposing character that's double token, and they're not going to be able to attack next turn. Give them +1 of their combat values, and then at the end of my turn, possibly deal them 1 penetrating damage. It's sneaky, but it could work. Blob's not bad, especially if you can use him with Amelia Vaught, because that 7 movement is painfully slow to deploy him, and then it just gets worse from there. But he's got that Mutants Brothers and Sisters, so he's able to heal if he clears tokens other than just clearing. Then he's got Immobile, but only when it's not your turn. At the end of your turn, if he wasn't moved or placed, put a stability token +1 defense for each stability token. So you can get him up to a 20 defense, which is good. Takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. Can't be chosen by Mastermind. Protected, Outwit, Pulse Wave. So this guy's definitely good here. I'd try to get 2 of them. That's a pretty good power. If you ran 2 of these guys with an Amelia Vaught, you'd be able to to tie down pretty much a half of a field pretty easily. Then we've got Toad. He's just basically a punching bag. Super senses, if you fail after resolutions, you may either move him a number of squares equal to the super sense result or remove an action token from him. He does have incap, but this is probably the weakest of the Brotherhood of Mutants here. But still, I mean, he's not terrible. Next we have Sabretooth. This is just good. 12 attack with Blade's Claws Fangs, 18 defense with senses and indomitability. He's got the Mutants Brothers and Sisters. Improved movement, ignores elevated and hindering. When he takes damage from an opponent's attack after resolutions, roll d6. 4 or 5, heal Sabretooth 1 click. 6, heal Sabretooth 2 clicks, and remove an action token from him. So you take 1 damage, you have a chance at healing it right back, which is good. And then special on his movement, Charge, Flurry, Stealth. 75 points, there's no getting around. This guy's just good. Then we have the Danger Room construct, Sabretooth. And basically everything I said about the Magneto one is the same with this guy. When he gets KO'd, he hands out combat reflexes. So pretty big drawback there, but he's 30 points less than the non-prime version and basically has the same stat line. So if you feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to get those error tokens off him, you could try. But yeah. So next we have Storm. I hate this Storm. There's so many other Storms that are exactly the same point value as her, or like plus or minus 10 points that have a better attack value than her, or can carry multiple characters. They're really overcosting this lightning style trait thing that they're giving to characters. So hard pass on her. Gambit is actually not bad. He has improved movement, ignores hindering terrain, running shot, stealth, energy explosion. When he uses it and rolls doubles and hits, increase the damage dealt to all hit targets by +1. So that's pretty good. Dual target is pretty decent. Then we have Jubilation Lee here. She's okay. The Fast Forces one's way better. Frenzy's bad. Do not be led off into the wilderness by that 19 defense. It's just not going to work. Random's cool. He's got 100 points and shape change. Free, choose standard attack power. Random can use the power until your next turn. Obviously, Exospecs would be an excellent thing to put on this guy. Low-ish attack values, though, for 3 out of his 6 clicks. So I don't know emotionally how I feel about that. With the Exospecs, you're talking about a 112-point figure. But I mean, there's something to be said for picking a attack power and for any attack power and any movement power in the game that you wanted. So then we have Morph, the non-prime version. He has a special shape change, plasticity, sidestep, stealth. When you succeed, choose a new target. It's legal. If the shape change roll was 6, you can choose a character friendly to the attacker. Okay, that's not bad. Prime version does the same thing, but better, though. So obviously we're taking the prime version if we can, but the non-prime version isn't bad. It still does basically the same thing, and it's packing that perplex, so that's something to consider. Next up is Bastion, number 30 in the set. He is another rare, and he's actually not bad. 125 points, which seems a lot for a admittedly low 3 damage, but he does have 3 damage with Perplex, 18 defense with Impervious, Indomitability, 11 attack, Psychic Blast, 8 movement with the Flight ability, and Running Shot. He's got this Stoking Mutant Hysteria trait, which is basically the same as Boulevard Trask and Senator Kelly, where he's making Friends of Humanity on leadership roles, and then if he's adjacent to 3 or more, he's making Sentinels. So that's good there. And then he's got this Sleeper Agents. Once per turn, when an opposing bystander is KO'd, you may roll a d6 4 through 6 to generate the same bystander in the square the opposing bystander last occupied. Bystander generated, combat values +1, have max 1. That's just good. There's no getting around how good that is. So this guy's definitely somebody that could be a backbone of a Sentinel team. or a robot team. Then we have Avalanche. This guy's not bad. I actually played with him a couple times. He's got the Mutants Brothers and Sisters. Quake, when he uses it, you can choose Giant Reach 4 or After Resolution's Barrier at no cost. Free, destroy piece of blocking terrain within range. I mean, that's pretty good for 50 points. I mean, he's not bad. Wish he had one thing of charge. You could fix that with the exospecs or a few other things, but for 50 points, he's not bad. Fantasia is terrible. I tried a few different times to get her to work, and it didn't go. Mesmero is fun, just if you can pull it off, just to get your opponents to run off of elevated terrain, but I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I'd avoid that. Archangel's good in the sense that he's good as a call-in, so that you can choose a opposing character that's the highest point at that point in the game, because that's when he's coming in, and then they get to go to click 11, where they get this nice 12-4 damage. You could run him in a fun game, and he'd probably be okay, but for competitive, you're definitely just waiting and using him on whoever their big gun is with this obsession trait. Professor X is terrible. You're still using your XXS versions. He's just not good. Then we have Legion. You got two different dials for him. You've got Fractured Savant and then just a regular version. Fractured Savant's not bad. This is the title version. So his +1, choose free, choose two different standard powers. Then an opponent chooses one of those two powers. Can use Legion, Fraction, Savant can use the power chosen by your opponent until your next turn. -1, choose two standard powers. You can use those chosen powers until your next turn. -4, can use all standard powers except Earthbound, Neutralize, and Battle Fury until your next turn. So all that's pretty good. Now you got to be careful because you do need to be attacking with him in order to build up those plot points. Otherwise, you're taking damage to get to that -4 because that's what everybody's drooling over. So you either have to be attacking with him or have somebody back there that can heal him for taking that damage from not attacking. The regular legions, just not something I'm too interested in. Then we have Colossus. He's not bad. He's got Defend and Invincible. During an attack, adjacent friendly characters that replace their defensive value with Colossus can use Invulnerability. That's great. He's got Acolytes and X-Men keywords. Got that Mutant Messiah. And, yeah, that's it. He's not, for 75 points, he's not bad. Mystique is good. There's a reason people are talking about using two of her. She's got a Shapeshifter trait where Shape Change, free, give a standard opposing character a Shapeshift token, removing it from anywhere else. When Mystique uses Shape Change, if there's a character with a Shapeshift token and the attacker doesn't have line of fire to them, she succeeds on a 2 through 6. Character always has line of fire to themselves. So 2 through 6 Shape Change is just good. Then we've got Pyro. I love him for the same reason that I love Avalanche. 50 points, has Energy Explosion, and then when I use it, I can either use Energy Explosion, you may use it as if you had 3 bolts, or after resolution, barrier at no cost, free, destroy an object within range. When Pyro uses a range destroy action to destroy a piece of blocking terrain, after resolutions, remove an action token from him. So that's just good there. Sauron's actually pretty good too. He is not a vampire dial like he was before, so I'm very thankful for that. 85 points, has a nice potpourri of keywords here. Has that Mutants Brothers and Sisters trait. Has a traded poison, and when he uses it and damage one or more opposing characters after resolutions, remove an action token from it. So pretty good there. And then Stop Support. When he uses it and heals a character after resolutions, heal Sauron 1 click. So you're able to get back up to these steel energy clicks and keep healing. So that's good there. Spiral is pretty good. She's got pretty decent keywords in Brotherhood of Mutants, Celebrity, Mystical. And then she's got a 4 range, triple target, 80 points, Mutants Brothers and Sisters trait, phasing teleport plasticity. When she uses phasing teleport, moves 5 or less squares. After resolutions, she can use both incapacitate and telekinesis at no cost in any order. That's really good there. And then she's got perplex and probability controls the specials on her defense. So that's good there. No portal opening like the one from Wolverine and the X-Men, but we can't. I really doubt WizKids would ever do something like that again. So next we have Cassandra Nova, 8 range, triple target, 150 points, Brotherhood of Mutants, and Sentinel keywords. Ooh, man, that Sentinel keyword is looking so good. She's pretty good. I actually like her a lot. She is squishy, though. So if they're able to get through her super senses that succeed on a 4 through 6, it's going to be an issue. And if they can get through her shape change. But high likelihood of succeeding, especially if you build a Sentinel theme team and you go with the Wakanda map where you get to re-roll those. Could be good. Mr. Sinister Rogue Geneticist is actually one that I hated when I saw him, but then the more I look at him, the more I like him. He's a title character. He starts with 0 plot points. I think that's where I first got hung up on him. But he's got... his +1 is free this turn. When Mr. Sinister, Rogue Geneticist, or a Nasty Boy hits, give a hit character a DNA sample token. If that character already has a DNA sample token, gain 1 additional plot point. So that's pretty good there. And the DNA samples are going to be crazy here in a second when you see. -0, free this turn. Mr. Sinister, Rogue Geneticist attacks a character with 1 or more DNA sample tokens on it. Modify attack and damage +X, where X is your plot points. Okay, so, good chance at getting +3 because of all the Nasty Boys are going to be able to get out. And then, just keep piling that stuff on. The -1 is Nasty Boy's attack. Free, generate a Nasty Boy's bystander. Each distinct Nasty Boy bystander has a max 1. So, obviously they don't want you making 3 or 4 of just 1. And then, as you can see, he has pretty decent combat values at 100 points. When you look at it, you're like, that's not so great. But then when you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's really easy to get to +3 attack and +3 damage. So it's like, okay, 14 for 6 out of a 100-point figure is really good. You come down to the last click, which would be if you had, if you were attacking somebody with a DNA sample token and you had 3 plot points, it would be a 12 for 5, and you'd still have a perplex that you could dump into your defense or take away 1 from their defense. So you can see this guy gets crazy real fast. His tokens are Slab, who has Sidestep, Close Combat Expert. Then we've got Incapacitate, Giant Reach 4, Plasticity, Force Blast, Pulse Wave, Charge, Blades, Claws, Fangs. So all that stuff's really good. Then we've got the Danger Room construct, Mr. Sinister. Basically the same things I said about all the other ones. I like this one a little bit better because he has that Outwit on him, so he's able to lend a little bit more support than some of the other ones. Next, we're getting on to the chases. We've got Donald Pierce. This is one that I actually like a lot. I think he's going to end up on a bunch of Don't Die teams. You're going to see by the end because he's got this robot keyword. And this robot keyword just keeps showing up a lot in this set. So I think people are going to build around that. So I would try to acquire one of these as soon as I can. The Harry Leland's not bad. He's also not great. I wouldn't worry about him. I wouldn't worry about Emma Frost. Jean Grey, a lot of people like because you're able to mind control her. Okay. I personally am not worried too much about her. I like Donald Pierce more than Jean Grey. That doesn't mean Jean Grey is terrible. I know people like her with the Dark Phoenix. That's really what it is. People want to use her with the Dark Phoenix Colossal. Next, we have Jason Wyngarde. There was a lot of hype for him before the set dropped. I think that's about as far as it goes. And then Sebastian Shaw is just not great. Someday they're going to have to show this character some respect. Then we have Sentinel Squad 1, who is a good vehicle. We have Stealth Sentinel, who's actually not bad. Really high. That 20 defense at 200 points has me so enticed to run him with like a Mr. Terrific that it's I almost can't stand it. And then you go to the attack dial and you see that drops all the way down to 16, but you got 13 for 5. So I'm probably going to run this at some point. This is a really good figure. Then we've got the regular Sentinels. These, you need a few of these to spawn with your other characters. They're actually pretty good. My favorite click is probably this 1011 with the Perplex and the Capture Coils. I really like that one a lot. I've gotten a lot of use out of the Sidestep Close Combat Expert and the Force Blast Range Combat Expert also. Haven't been fortunate enough to roll for either of these two in a game yet. Nimrod is Nimrod. People have been hyping him with good reason. He's tough to take out. I think even in full 300 point modern, not just pauper. I think this guy's going to be on a few teams, so be prepared. Next we have Proteus, the orange one. This one's not bad. You're just using them so that you can play him at the 20 point line. Exodus, some people like. Because he has Pulse Wave, so he's going to be the answer for some people in Pauper. So that might be a worthwhile thing to try to lock down, especially for the 75 point line where he's got running shot and Pulse Wave for 75 points. 175, I'm not sure, unless you really want that invulnerability. Onslaught, I believe, is going to make a big impact in Pauper also. At the 125 point line, this guy's just a monster. I used him in a battle royale, and he was good. There's no getting around it. Juggernaut, again, I'm going to be saying this a lot. He's going to be good in Pauper. 300 point Juggernaut to just try to point deny and make it so your opponents have to go after him. He's good. He's got this special Colossal Stamina, Invincible. Juggernaut has Protected, Incapacitate, Mind Control, Outwit, Pulse Wave. There's no getting around his defense, hardly. Then we have Sasquatch. This is probably one of the weaker ones in the set. Weaker Colossals. Then we've got Green Puff Dragon. This special on his movement, where you get to destroy blocking terrains, deceptively good. I would try to get one just to play it at 75 points, just to play around with it. He's not bad. Phoenix, I see some people trying to do stuff with her. If nothing else, she's good to have as a call-in with the Rachel Summers wanted poster. So there's that. Cerebra's not bad. You're running her on X-Men or Sentinel theme teams. Nice hyper taxi, although it's not the cheapest hyper taxi for X-Men. But for Sentinels, it might give you something to tote some people around. But 6 passengers, but only to carry X-Men keyword when she doesn't. Okay, so it can't even help out Sentinels that bad. Anyway, so I wouldn't worry about Cerebra then. Cyclops Sentinel is the truth, though. That 50 point line, for Sentinel and X-Men, it gives you leadership, gives you penetrating psychic blast. When he takes 1 damage, you get this cool Sentinel head that he can tote around then that does that has a 12 attack for 4 damage psychic blast, which is just great. And he's got a 20 defense from range. I could see a lot of people running him. Bastion is probably one of my favorite leaders for Sentinel right now. The 100 point line. He's got mind control, but only to target friendly or opposing characters with the robot keyword. He is friendly to himself, so he could hypothetically mind control himself with that dual target. I believe it's still getting kind of sussed out a little bit, but I would say that he can do that. And he's got the leadership where he can make Sentinels. He doesn't have to worry about that Friends of Humanity business at all. And he's got impervious, barriers free, but only generate markers and squares adjacent to him. Those markers block lines of fire drawn to characters that can use giant size. He may still target through them. So basically he can make outdoor barriers that protect him from other Colossals. Proteus, this is the green one, and he is also the great one. 10 points. People are just going to run the bejesus out of him to make 1 billion pieces of blocking terrain so that you can never attack them. I don't see how the Banhammer doesn't come, not Banhammer, but the Errata Hammer doesn't come down on them. So I wouldn't really get too hung up on trying to acquire 7 or 8 of them. But I would definitely try to get one, because I anticipate that they're just going to say, well, he's a unique. That would be the easiest way to remedy that situation. Next, we have Magneto. He's pretty good. There's leadership free. Choose a character within range and line of fire. Place that character in a square adjacent to its current one. That stuff's good. Yeah, he's just good. I'm not going to talk about him too much more. Red Onslaught is not nearly as... I don't like him as much as regular Onslaught, but he is a nice way to combat swarm teams. He has that kind of built into himself. So, Eugene Torbit Witterspain is one of my sleeper picks of this set. I would try to get 2. I currently have 1. I'm trying to hunt another one down. I like him with like somebody like Enigma from Black Panther and the Illuminati, because he has super strength Quake. When he uses Quake and hits, until your next turn, that character can't be given any actions except moved actions. And then you give, you send in Enigma, who makes it so that the opposing characters have immobile. Or you could, use anybody with Proxima Midnight Spear and hit to give them immobile too. And it's has the potential to introduce some no play game states, and he doesn't count against theme teams, so 25 points to toss him on there isn't bad. Then we have Colossus Prime. I like him for the call-in at 25 points, and he's got an 11 attack with Quake. He's just good. At 100 points, I'm not using him because he's only got a 10 attack. And at 115, 200, I'm definitely using somebody that's not just a close attacker. Wendigo is another figure that's the truth. All the hype you've heard about him is true, and probably actually underselling him. This guy is, in a non-funny way, he really is an animal. 15 points, he can heal himself. He can attack 3-4 times a turn, deal penetrating damage. There's just no getting around it. It's going to be hard to try to get 1, but I'd try to get 2 or 3. I wouldn't really exceed that, but yeah, definitely try to get one of those. Then we've got Vange Wendigon, who honestly I haven't looked at too much. There's other figures that are just a lot better, so I haven't paid too much attention to her. Dark Phoenix is definitely one you want to try to get, just to play at 30 points so that she can heal up, and then go back to the stop click and heal up, and go back to the stop click, and really just be a headache for your opponents. I see some people talking about running her at 300 points just by herself. I could see an argument for that, but definitely for 30 you're running her. Krakoa is fun. I think ultimately not that great though. Mojo is good with those, what is the trait? More action. Ratings keep dropping. Whenever a character misses all targets of an attack, give Mojo a board token. Free, remove 2 board tokens to either place Mojo anywhere on the map or make an attack. That's just great there. So for 75 points, I definitely try to get one. 11 attack, 4 damage for 75 points is good. Then we've got Shadow King. He's pretty good. Storm. Now, this is probably going to be one of the most controversial things I'm going to say. I don't think the Storm's bad, but if I'm... How do I want to say this? This Storm doesn't do anything super special, in my opinion. If I'm going to use her as an ID card, I'm probably going to be using the Phoenix Force powered one until I'm not allowed to, at which point this becomes an obvious choice that has the pulse wave for 4 damage. She doesn't have, if you're going to main force her, she's not colossal size. She doesn't have willpower. She doesn't have pyrocosmic. She doesn't have, she doesn't have anything like that. Now she does have the colossal retaliation free, mind control at no cost, modify attack +3, which I mean is good, but again, I'm not worrying too much about it. At 25 points, I'm using her as a call-in, but again, if I'm not burning my Storm call-in, if I just have the wanted poster Storm. Now, if I got this Storm and the Storm faculty ID card, and I'm looking at running both so that I have a low point call-in version, that makes a lot of sense to me. But if I'm picking one to run, I'm not using her. And she's taken up your Prime slot too, and I like the Prime Colossus as a call-in a lot better than her. So, sorry to everybody that wants her or still feels like she's worth a couple $100. Although her price is falling like a rock. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you could pick up Storm for less than $50 relatively soon. She's not going to fall much more below that just because of her rarity. But as far as like her meta potential, I don't think she's going to go up in price because of that until retirement hits. Next we have Madrix. I love this figure. But unless you have a proclivity for just losing games because you were having fun and making lots of characters and frustrating your opponents, avoid this character. He's got a nice assortment of keywords, including some of my favorites of X-Men, celebrity, pirate, police, reporter, scientist. So he's got a bunch of good keywords. He spawns extra Madrixes. And what do the Madrix dupes do? They got a 10 attack with Empower, and then they can steal powers from adjacent opposing characters. He's fun, but ultimately you don't need him. Iceman, on the other hand, is one that you need. This is a must-get, as at least the call-in, where you can call him in at 100 points. So he has that 12 attack, 3 damage without wit. Or if you want to be able to call him in with basically anybody, you can call him in at the 15 point. And do that. And then we've got we'll do one extra. We'll do as a bonus these other ones. And it's going to be the Magneto from the release day kit. He's not bad. He's interesting. And then we've got the Fast Forces here, who I've already reviewed. All right, guys. So you guys, let me know in the comments below what is your favorite figure in the set. I always enjoy reading that stuff. Let me know if I got a figure really wrong or really right. I also enjoy really reading that stuff. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. It really helps keep me motivated to make these videos, and it lets YouTube know that, hey, other people might like these videos. That's all I have for you today. As always, please remember that it's only critical mass if you don't have probability control.